Billy Bob Thornton is a well-known name in the film industry, unfortunately not always for the best reasons. The actor and filmmaker has made his fair share of enemies throughout his prolific Hollywood career. In addition to stepping on toes, stirring up drama, and beefing with fellow actors and filmmakers, Thornton is also known for being someone staunchly unapologetic for his views and behavior. Despite having a successful Hollywood career, life hasn't always been smooth sailing for Thornton. He's had to contend with several tragic losses, a turbulent childhood, poverty, heartbreak, addiction, and many other hardships that have shaped his outlook and attitude. Keep watching to learn about some of Billy Bob Thornton's most publicized hate-filled tirades, oddly specific pet peeves, cringe-worthy hot takes, and headline-stealing meltdowns. Billy Bob hates Cupcake Wars. This one might seem like it's coming straight out of left field, but as it turns out, Billy Bob Thornton absolutely detests Food Network's reality-based TV show Cupcake Wars. It's a baking competition show where contestants are judged by their cupcake-making abilities. Apparently, Billy Bob has been quite outspoken about his hatred for the show. In 2014, while appearing on an episode of Oprah's Masterclass, Thornton expressed his dismay at why there needed to be a show about cupcakes in the first place. He then went on to complain about why then said shows had to be a competition. He suggested anyone who had ever been in an actual war must take offense to the show's lax use of the word, before adding that such reality programs were likely making society meaner. Before we tell you more, be sure to give this video a like and subscribe to Facts First if you haven't already. He hates the faces actors make on movie posters. In 2016, Billy Bob was a guest on The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon. During his interview, he opened up about one of his personal pet peeves by describing what he refers to as actor movie poster face. Thornton explained there are really only a couple faces actors ever make when posing for film promotional posters. He even admitted to having made the face in question himself at one point before he, quote, caught on. After demonstrating the facial expression, he described it to Fallon as looking far off into the distance with one's mouth gaping open. Thornton complained about a time when he was posing for a Bad Santa photo op where he was in character as the titular troublemaking lead. He explained he had a sack of presents over his shoulder and a cigarette hanging out of his mouth, but the studio forced him to swap out the cigarette for a toothpick to be more politically correct. Thornton, however, thought this swap out was ridiculous, since the whole point of Bad Santa was that he was rough around the edges and had a whole slew of nasty habits and vices. So you might as well add censorship to the things Billy Bob hates as well. The time Thornton canceled a Canadian tour after insulting a crowd. While touring Canada in 2009 with his band The Boxmasters, Thornton got irate with the audience and described them as mashed potatoes without gravy. Just days later, Billy Bob canceled the remaining dates of the tour after receiving pushback for his insulting comments. The controversy began a week earlier when Thornton lashed out against a radio show host named John Gomeshi with Canada's CBC Radio on the program Studio Q. Gomeshi had evidently been warned before the interview not to mention Billy Bob's acting career, but when he introduced him, he referred to him as an Oscar-winning screenwriter, actor, and director. That's when things got awkward, and for the remainder of the interview, Thornton answered the majority of questions with, "I don't know," or "I don't know what you're talking about." Thornton then decided to take a jab at his Canadian fans by saying Canadian audiences seem to be too reserved. He explained that in other places, people tend to throw things and get excited at his shows, but in Canada, they, quote, just sit there. After Gomeshi wrapped up the interview, he introduced the Boxmasters, who were planning on playing an instrumental version of one of their songs. Billy Bob, still seemingly peeved, declined to join in the performance. Not long after that interview, the Boxmasters played a show in Toronto where they were widely booed. One fan could even be heard shouting, "Here comes the gravy," referencing Billy Bob's earlier dig on the radio show. After playing 2 more shows in Montreal, Quebec, and London, Ontario, in which the band was subjected to similar treatment, Thornton announced they would forego playing any more shows in Canada due to some kind of mysterious illness. Billy Bob's hatred of antiques. While filming 2003's Love Actually, in which Thornton had a minor role as the President of the United States, it came out he had a crippling phobia of antiques. While filming scenes with Martine McCutcheon and Hugh Grant, he reportedly became very uncomfortable when he was forced to be around items that were 500 years old. In a later interview with the New York Times, he clarified it wasn't all antiques that rubbed him the wrong way. Instead, it was, as he described, French, English, and Scottish old mildewy stuff. old dusty heavy drapes, and big tables with lions' heads carved in them, and other items that were too big to be functional that gave him the creeps. He doesn't think talent is necessary to be an actor. Thornton believes that instead of talent, actors simply need to think of significant moments from their past and channel the emotions they felt in those moments while delivering their performance. Of course, it can be argued believably adopting past emotions into a role requires talent in and of itself. Even so, it's undeniable Billy Bob has had a life full of emotional highs and lows. For one thing, he's gone through more than one painful divorce, most famously with actress Angelina Jolie. Beyond that, Thornton has frequently talked about his time cleaning up after fatal accidents when he worked for the highway department before becoming an actor. Arguably more heart-pulling was when he had to process the tangled web of emotions that came with his estranged daughter being sentenced to 20 years in prison for aggravated manslaughter, or the time when his brother suddenly died from a rare heart condition. If that wasn't enough, Billy Bob has also been surprisingly forthcoming about the ways his father physically and emotionally abused him as a child. And although the man put him through the ringer for many years, Thornton had a difficult time dealing with the complex emotions that came flooding in when his dad lost his battle with cancer. So yes, Billy Bob certainly does have a vast well of emotional baggage to pull from, but the fact that he thinks talent is not essential to be an actor is pretty bizarre. Now it's time to hear from you. Which part of these stories was most surprising to hear about? Let us know in the comments section below. And before you go, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to Facts First if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content. By the way, if you haven't joined Facts First as a member yet, be sure to look below this video and click the join button. By becoming a paid member of Facts First, you'll get access to exclusive video content that you won't find anywhere else. This includes some of our more mature content that isn't suitable for public audiences, which includes topics like Hollywood actresses who posed for Playboy and some of the steamiest moments in movie history. Plus, you can enjoy these videos completely ad-free. Our biggest fans will notice they also get badges next to their name when they leave comments on our videos. We pay special attention to comments from our members, and so do other viewers. So if you want exclusive content from Facts First or inside access to discussions with other community members, click the join button to get started for just $4.99. There are hours of members-only videos waiting for you, with new videos added every month. And we're actively working on bringing even more features to help fans like you connect with other members and get more of your favorite content. Just click join, and we'll see you inside the membership tab.